Hello, everybody. I hope you guys can hear me okay. I've got a bunch of dehumidifiers and fans going in my hallway right outside of my office. If you didn't see my video from Monday, we had a house flood. It's been a week ago, which is crazy. It was last Wednesday that my dear sweet daughter decided to flood the hallway bathroom while we were sleeping. And so, yeah, it caused quite an uproar in the house. And we've got dehumidifiers, fans, stuff going. So it's really loud. And my hair doesn't want to do anything. It's just kind of flat. And I've been having to drink a ton of extra water because we're just trying to dry the floors out. We've got a disaster relief team. So that's what's going on in my world. I see that there are some people viewing. So if you're watching, go ahead, drop me a comment. Let me know where you're watching from. I'm going to talk a little bit and then I will open it up and do a little bit of Q&A depending on who's watching, who's there. If you're watching the replay, you can also drop me a comment and let me know where you're watching from. And I know I have people that watch all over the world. So Thanksgiving may not even be a thing for you if you're like at a different part of the world. But for a lot of my viewers are in the US and Thanksgiving is tomorrow. So I just want to offer some support. You know, last year was the first year that I did carnivore. I did not even do keto during the holidays. I just did carnivore. Okay, I'm seeing people come on. We got Jackie. We've got Lively from the UK. We've got Texas. So welcome everybody who's watching. So yeah, last year was my first year that I didn't do any Thanksgiving food over Thanksgiving, which was the first time in my life I've ever done that. So I've got Jimmy, Zero Carb is online. We've got Canada, Colorado. Happy Thanksgiving, you guys. So I want to talk about that, like what I feel like I could do different, or what I'm going to do differently this year. And just like the whole mindset going into Thanksgiving. You know, a lot of you guys that watch my channel are very in tune with and, you know, in that whole food addiction conversation. And so we all are different, but I want to just offer some support to you wherever you are in your journey. So before I jump into that, sorry, I was late. I had some technical difficulties and then I got a notification from White Oak Pastures that their pastured chicken skin was back in stock. And my daughter loves the pastured chicken skin from White Oak Pastures. So I literally ordered 13 pounds. This is what I do. So if you are interested in some pastured chicken skin from White Oak Pastures, there's a link below this video and you better go buy it like right now because it's probably going to get sold out. She loves those pastured chicken skins. So we buy those. And the other thing I want to talk about before I jump into this whole discussion of like holiday support, food addiction, you know, what that might look like for different people. I'm not giving a one size fits all talk here. This is like going to be for different people wherever they are. I am running a December Healthy for the Holidays group. I'm finishing up the November one. And we are just having a great time in that November group. I do a video every single morning to just kind of with a different topic to talk about, you know, could be food issues, it could be setting boundaries, it could be breathing techniques. It's like a small group coaching, and we're staying off sugar and processed foods together in that group. Lots of support, lots of open posting Q&As. I do 2 live videos a week on Monday and Friday. And so I'm opening that back up for December. And the December people, if you join that, you can get access to all the files from November. So you can go back if you want to watch my morning videos. There's links I put in there, and it's all organized in units. So you don't have, it's not going to be like this big overwhelming thing you get in there, but there's units where, you know, there's a whole bunch of inspirational videos that are like diet, mindset, staying off sugar, carnivore, like in that. And there's one section of that. There's podcast, again, videos from me. And then I've cataloged all the live Q&A videos so you can go back and watch those. But there's a link below this video. If you want to join us for December, it's going to be open for a few more days. I'll be letting people in. So yeah, and if y'all have any questions about that, feel free to drop them in the chat. But I just want to support people this time of year. I keep saying 2020 has been like this kind of like Band-Aid that's been ripped off. You know what I mean? And everything is getting exposed right now. Any kind of emotional stuff we had going on, anything that we had going on is like this big Band-Aid that's gotten ripped off. And now we're kind of dealing with it. We're everything's kind of flying up in our face and we're trying our best. And for a lot of us, that means dealing with the addiction demon, because addiction really is just your body's attempt to rebalance your nervous system. You're not a bad person. There's nothing fundamentally wrong with you. Some of us are wired, I believe, to be addicted, to just have that brain that is more likely to go into addiction. So it's been hard. Those of us that do struggle with addiction, myself for sure, this year has been very eye-opening. So awesome. I've got lots of people coming in. Let's see. Jemmy says, I'm so curious about how you will do your Thanksgiving. Wish me good luck. LOL. Good luck, Jimmy. I'm there with you. I'm there with all of you guys, which is why I wanted to do this live stream the day before Thanksgiving, just to offer you guys support, because I think that when you do stay away from sugar processed foods, maybe you're not even carnivore or keto, maybe you're doing more of like a paleo or primal ancestral kind of approach, I think that's great too, but that's going to not include, for most of you guys, diving into the sugar and the processed foods. So anytime you have a lifestyle like that, I think it's lonely. It's lonely. And my first, few years that I lived my life without alcohol, very lonely, very isolating. And I can go around. This will be my 5th sober Thanksgiving, Christmas holiday season, and it's not even a thing for me really, unless I'm hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. HALT. I don't know if you guys have heard that. If I'm one of those things, I may get a little irritated if someone's like doing a bunch of heavy drinking around me, and I'm kind of like, please don't do that. Like I'd rather not be around it, but I'm okay. Food. Now, last year was the first year that I didn't do any kind of like Thanksgiving sides. I just didn't indulge at all. And so I just ended up eating a lot of meat. I ate a steak before I went to the holiday dinner. And then I ate some turkey while I was there. And then I ate another steak when I came home. It was hindsight, I wish I had added a lot of fat. I wish I would have just upped that fat, because I would have had more satiety. Now I kind of know what I do about carnivore, and the way of doing carnivore that's a little bit more optimal for me includes a lot of fat and kind of moderating the protein down a little bit. So I'm in a nice therapeutic ketosis and I'm not hungry. For me, that's how I deal with like a lot of my hunger issues, is I just make sure that I've eaten enough fat. And Alexis says, yay, it will be my first sober Thanksgiving in 6 years. Yippee. Yay, that's awesome. And I find that if you stay away from the alcohol, it's way easier to make better food choices. Way, way easier. Because when you drink, you dysregulate your blood sugar, and you lower your inhibitions. And so maybe you have this plan, and I want to talk a little bit and strategize with you guys a little bit about having a plan going into the holiday meal tomorrow. So maybe you have a plan, but then you have the 1 or 2 or 3 glasses of whatever you're drinking, the alcohol, and then the plan goes out the window and the inhibitions go down the drain. And so I definitely recommend not drinking alcohol if you're trying to, stick to a specific plan, because it's just going to make it harder. And Jimmy says, yes, very lonely. My house is full of people and I'm the only one carnivore. Yeah, same here. Same here. My daughter's keto. My husband, he can just eat whatever he wants. He's what I call a normie. He can go into it. I've talked about this before. If he gets a sweet craving, because we don't keep anything here, he'll literally go to a gas station. He'll buy a pack of M&Ms. He'll take out a small handful and throw the rest of the pack of the way, get in his car and drive off. I'm like, how on earth how is that a thing? Like, how do you do that? So he can go to a meal and have whatever. If he wants to have a beer, he'll drink a beer, and he'll leave half of it sitting on the table. I could never do that. Alexa says, drinking triggers my binge eating every time. I don't know. Do you guys feel the same? It always, for me, does trigger the binge eating. And I remember when I quit drinking for the very first time 11 years ago, because I've been on this, like, I'm not going to drink recovery train for many, many years. And the first time I quit drinking completely, I lost like 20 pounds really, really fast. And everyone was like, how did you lose that weight so quickly? And I was like, I just quit drinking, you know, because number one, you have all the calories from the alcohol, and then the dysregulated blood sugar, so the hormonal aspect of that. And then number two, you don't have the lowered inhibitions where you go and you just eat like whatever. When I would drink, I would just eat stupid crap. It was like not even enjoyable, like just whatever I could find to just stuff in my mouth at night after I had too much to drink. So definitely, if you are going to do a holiday meal tomorrow, I would recommend possibly, you know, not doing the drinking thing unless you have a lot of experience with drinking and not going off the deep end and not dysregulating your blood sugar. So, okay, let me talk a little bit about the biggest thing I want to discuss here, because I'm not here to tell you where you are in that addiction spectrum. Some of you guys, everyone's different, because I read the comments under my videos, and anytime I do a video where I talk about sugar addiction, carb addiction, addiction period, I have people all over the map. You know, there are some people that can, like my husband, they can go and they can have like a little something and go on with their life. It doesn't mess with their head. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't mess with them. They can get up tomorrow and get right back on track, and it's not a thing. But if you're a little bit further over on that addiction spectrum, and this, you know, is with your food, really, it can be with alcohol too. Kind of got to know yourself. You may go and have something sweet or have something that's like off plan, and it might trigger you. And what I talked about in the video I did on Monday about sugar and sugar addiction and sugar cravings is that there's a 4-day acute withdrawal period. So know that if you do have, you know, more of an addictive personality and you put sugar in your body after, especially you haven't had it in a really long time, there's about 4 days that you're really going to have to contend with. And for me, what would happen is I would get like 1 day out, and I'd do better that next day, because I'd always feel really bad the day after. I would just like gorge myself, kind of binge, eat a lot. I'd feel really bad. And like the next day I would be okay. I could get through it, and I wouldn't eat leftovers or any of that. There's some days I would. It's different every year. I've had a lot of years of experience with this, but sometimes I would get past that 1 day. But then it's usually like day 2 or 3 or 4 where I'm likely to go back and binge again. And so it's just tricky, and your body literally goes through an acute withdrawal period. Let's see what Jimmy says here. Definitely agree. I stopped drinking in 93 and then put on the weight. Been carnivore since 1620, just hit over 110 and lost, still going. Keep going, Jimmy. That's just so freaking awesome. And when I actually quit drinking this last time, because like I mentioned, I've been, you know, on the recovery train, not drinking for the better part of 11 years. I had a year in there, and I'm the same way with food. And this is how I know myself now after all these years of, you know, experimenting and learning. I don't like to look at my binging and all this stuff as like failure. We have to look at it as like learning about yourself, of like, now I know that this is how my body works. And now I know this is how, and I can change things. Like and this is a lot of what we work on in my Healthy for the Holidays groups, the December one coming up and the November one now, is like, we don't scold ourselves. We're not hard on ourselves, but we're learning things about ourselves. We're learning what works and what doesn't work, you know? And what I learned with myself and drinking this last time is that, you know, so I went 4 years without a drink. And then I quit going to recovery meetings. I quit surrounding myself with support, which is another reason why I'm starting to do these kind of like small coaching groups And another reason why I wanted to do this video today, just to reach out and kind of have community support for you guys. We have to have support because it is lonely to do something like not drink or not eat sugar or not eat processed foods, especially on Thanksgiving. You know, this is a time of year everyone's like, blow it out. You know, you've got all the old triggers and the old, you know, all the memories of all the foods you probably ate growing up. And you have to have support. You know, it's so hard to do on your own. You can do it on your own, as I'm not saying it's impossible, but I think that surrounding yourself with that support, you know, listening to YouTube videos, listening to inspirational videos, being in a community where you virtually, where you can not feel so lonely, you know, because a lot of us that are keto or carnivore are going into these dinners and situations and we're the only one doing this. Everyone's going to be gorging. Everyone's going to be stuffing their face. And we've got these mirror neurons going, like we're in these tribes and like everyone else in our tribe in front of our faces, like doing this stuff, but we can be in these virtual tribes, you know, and support each other virtually and know that we don't have to do that because we know it's like poisoning our body. It's not going to feel good. So what happened with me with drinking is that, you know, I quit going to recovery meetings. I thought I was too good for that and I didn't need it and I'm good. I can move on with my life now. I don't need it. And I had a bad day, which was a bad week, which turned into a bad month, which turned into a bad couple months. And it seemed like a really good idea at the time. After I'd been away from my support community, away from my recovery community, it seemed like a good idea to have a glass of wine. And the thing is, like, that glass of wine turned into me drinking for a whole year that I didn't want to be drinking. I didn't want to be doing it. You know, I would get like, and this is how I am with food. I'm going to tie this into food because a lot of you guys can drink and you're fine. You don't have drinking issues, or maybe you do, but I don't, you know, it's how I am with food. It's like, I'm good, I'm fine, as long as I don't put it in my body. But once it's in my body, it just makes me want to do it. And I'm getting, the only enjoyment that I'm getting out of it is like, number one, I've made the decision to do it. So if I was to be like, I'm going to eat, you know, XYZ chocolate pie, I would already start feeling better. And that's how I was with alcohol. Like I would already have the decision in my head to like take that drink and I'd already start feeling better because your body actually starts producing dopamine and this has been scientifically studied, your body starts producing dopamine before you actually eat the food or take the drink or take the drug or whatever it is. Then you take it and you might have a little temporary hit of the chemical of whatever's in the food, sugar or the alcohol. So it'll give you a little boost, but that's very short-lived. And then it's like a major, major drop off. And that's how it became with me and food. You know, when I quit drinking over 4 years ago, this last time, I gained 30 pounds. So 11 years ago, I lost 20 pounds because I quit the mindless eating and I quit the extra calories from the alcohol. But the last time that I quit drinking, I was a lot older and I gained 30 pounds because I had been using alcohol to deal with my emotions and to deal with my feelings. And I just started using food. And it was the first time in my life that I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like, you know, really like a full-blown food addict and using food just like I was the alcohol. And so times like this, you know, Thanksgiving, Christmas, the holidays, it's just so important that we, you know, support each other, that we know we're out there. Like I see you guys out there trying not to eat the sugar, trying not to eat the stuff. And Jimmy says, you are so on point. I consider this my support group, being the only one doing this. So thank you. Well, I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you consider, you know, my channel, my videos, and just this as a support to you, to know that you can do this, that you don't have to eat the food if it makes you feel bad. Now, one thing I want to talk about is like making a choice. And this is where you're going to fall on that addiction spectrum. You know, maybe you are one of those people that you can eat something tomorrow on Thanksgiving and then get back on it first thing on Thursday. You know, maybe you can do that. And I'm not hating on anybody that can do that. I just don't identify with that. And that's not my story. And sometimes, you know, like I did last year, I just ate, I think I just mentioned I had like 3 steaks that day. And I had turkey with a bunch of butter on it just to get through that day. I wish I had, like I said, eaten a lot of fat because fat is more satiating and it's more regulating to the blood sugar. But I just was doing what I had to do to get through. And that's sometimes what we have to do. If you have to eat a lot of meat tomorrow or eat a bunch of butter or a bunch of fat to get through the day and not eat the things that you know are going to trigger you, then do it. So I think that's important. And now if you guys have questions or anything, please feel free to drop them in the chat. Aw, thank you. You guys go to Tammy's channel, Keto Chaos. She actually did a really awesome live chat yesterday where she's talking more about this. Like, you know, if you're not on that addiction spectrum where you feel like you eat a little bit of sugar or food is going to trigger you into a month-long binge, she had some really great tips for like, hey, if you do want to just eat a little something on Thanksgiving, make it special, make it keto, then do that, you know? I'm at this place where it's like, I just don't even want to mess with that. And I'm really blessed this year that my sister is cooking everything. She is doing everything. And so I just have to show up and be helpful. So if you're going somewhere or if it's at your house, you know, and you're trying to avoid the foods, my biggest piece of advice is like, throw yourself into helping. Help set the table, help clear up the table, help clean the dishes. Just do what you can do. And Tammy says, I've been there for sure. Yes. And we've all like experienced different stuff. It's a journey and it's not like this one solid thing, you know? So it's not just like one solid thing that it's just going to be this way forever. You always have to do this, but I'm like, you know, I'm just somebody who knows I don't want to mess with the desserts and I don't want to mess with that. So I'm going to make myself busy. I'm going to be really, really helpful and just, you know, help my family. Let's see what Alexis says here. Amazing how our dis-ease can trick us into drinking, binging again. I did the same thing, was sober and active in meetings for 6 years, thought I was good and stayed in a relapse for 6 years. And this is like the thing I hear a lot from people who have food addiction. My friend Katrina, she's on Instagram as Keto Katrina. She lost 200 pounds with keto. She has lipedema. We did a video on here a while back, but Katrina, Keto Katrina, I love her to death. We actually went to White Oak Pastures together last year in December for White Oak Cello. We roomed together. We had a blast. But she is in her mid-40s, and she's like, you know, I just know myself. She talked in our video that we did where she had been keto for almost a year and had lost like 70 pounds, was doing awesome. And then decided this year that she was going on a cruise with her family, a Disney cruise. And she's like, when I step on the boat, I'm just going to eat whatever I want. And I'm just going to enjoy myself for this week that I'm on my cruise. Right. 5 years later, no joke, gained all the weight back and then some, right? Before she restarted keto and then lost that 200 pounds, which she has now kept off for, I want to say another 2 or 3 years she's kept this off. I think she's 50 now. So, you know, she in her 40s really dealt with and battled this stuff. And she did keto. So life and in the adventures in keto says, I'm the only ketoer, but I have a great keto plan in place. And that's awesome. This is the big thing, is having a plan. So this is why I want to do this video today, you guys, to have a plan. If you do want to have a couple keto desserts or treats, or if you want to just have whatever, right? And count it like as Tammy, Keto Chaos, was talking about yesterday, count it as a refeed day, okay? We don't call it a cheat day. We don't call it because cheating implies you're getting ahead. Right? Are you getting ahead? So it's a refeed day. Don't frame it as that, or it's a free day. If you can handle that, but plan for it, have a plan going in, and know that if that is what you're going to do, you're not going to feel awesome when you wake up on Friday. Tammy says, yep, the same thing happened to me 8 years ago, lost 110, then regained 150. I'm so much more healthier now emotionally, which is the key. Yes, I agree. Tammy, we need to talk sometime. We need to do like a Zoom interview for my channel so we can get people from my channel to your channel, because Tammy and I do things 100% different. Like, she's keto. She also has 9 children. God bless, like, the strength of this woman, and has lost 207 pounds now, I think. Tammy has, and done keto and lost all this weight and has 9 children and has been keeping it off, has been just doing the work. And this is the thing, you know, weight loss is sexy and weight loss is like the thing. And it's going to come January. Everyone's going to have all these weight loss plans and all this stuff that's going to be popping up. And yeah, I feel like from where I've lost 100 pounds 3 separate times in my life. The weight loss is kind of like somewhat the easy part. It's what happens after you lose the weight. So the last time I lost 100 pounds was 12 years ago. And the last 12 years, I've been like just trying to figure out maintenance. Literally, how do you try to figure out maintenance for 12 years? That's kind of sad. But I've learned a lot about myself. I've learned that I just don't want to put sugar in my body, that it messes with my head too much. I don't feel good. And it turns into this binge train, like the thing is like to lose the weight, you can gain it back. I've lost 100 pounds literally 3 times. I just said that, but it's learning how to live your life and finding what's going to work for you. And there's not just one answer. I can't just sit here and say, nobody eat anything tomorrow and don't enjoy any foods tomorrow. Everyone needs to follow that. That may not be right for you, For me, it's right for me. For me, I have a plan for tomorrow. I'm going to eat a lot of fat. I'm going to eat before I go. I'm going to make sure I'm satiated. I may even bring some purse bacon, for if I get hungry while I'm there, because emotional hunger is a real thing. But I'm just going to go to my sister's for that time, make myself busy, make myself useful. One of my sisters has a 3-year-old. The other one has a 1-year-old. So I can help with the kids. I can be the aunt, and let my sisters enjoy sitting down and eating and relaxing a little bit. Because when you have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, you don't really get to do a lot of that. And so that's my plan. Yes, Juliana says purse bacon. Purse bacon is a thing, you guys. It is a real thing. And sometimes you got to go to an event with some purse bacon. You got to arm yourself with the goods. And Tammy says, maintenance is the real work. It's so hard. It really, really is, because it's a mindset. And if you don't, and this is what I'm doing in my Healthy for the Holidays group in November and December, is like, we're working on staying off sugar and processed foods, strategizing for that, for the best digestion and all that stuff. But like the mindset is so much bigger, and healing yourself emotionally is so much bigger. For myself, I know with drinking alcohol, it's off the table. It's not something I ever want to do. Like, I don't ever want to drink again. I don't want to tempt that bear. I just don't want to do it. I'm happier without it. With food at this point where I'm at, I don't really see myself wanting to indulge in cheesecake or cakes or the sweets or the rolls. I just don't see myself wanting to do that. But that is not going to kill me. Alcohol was actually going to literally actually kill me, literally. And I've seen people in recovery die from drinking themselves to death and from alcohol-related diseases. And you can die from obesity-related diseases too. Because I know if my friend Katrina was watching, the one I just mentioned, who spent 5 years, after having lost a bunch of weight, spent 5 years in a binge, she would probably sit on here and say, food will also kill you. Obesity will also kill you. It's just a slower and more painful death. So really knowing yourself. And Tammy says she's cooking bacon right now. It's so good. And I've had a stressful couple of weeks. A lot of you guys know, and you could probably hear these dehumidifiers and fans going. My daughter, she's 12. She's non-speaking autistic. And she is keto because she's like a food addict in the making. Holy moly. She gets OCD about food too. I can see myself in her. She used to, when I would give her a treat, when it was over, she had 3 bites of it less, she would start crying. And she would start crying because she knew she was about to run out of whatever dessert this was. That's, and I was like, oh wow, it's me. That's me, that's exactly what I do. You're kind of sad when the food's about to run out and you immediately want more. She would do that. And so she's a major, major food addict. So her being keto is amazing for her behavior, for her sleep, for so many things. But she's just one, we just don't mess with it because it just makes her crazy. It makes her crazier to have the sugar than to not have the sugar. I know that's the way I am. But what I was saying about the dehumidifiers and fans, she got up at 3 o'clock in the morning, But she was actually probably up a few hours before that. And my husband and I were dead asleep. We have a small house. Our upstairs is like 1,200 square feet. It's a small little ranch. So we can usually hear her. Like we can usually hear her, but we didn't hear her. And she flooded the bathroom, flooded the whole hallway. And then I was laughing, you guys, this is my house. Like I actually fell through one of the vents like about a year and a half ago. It was this wooden vent and my foot like fell through. If I wasn't like in shape and somewhat athletic, I probably would have broken my leg. But if I hadn't fallen through the floor and there wasn't a hole in my hallway, it would have flooded the whole upstairs with how much water there was. So the water went through that hole to my basement and there was like 2 or 3 inches of water in the basement downstairs. So we've had this like major stressful week. The insurance adjuster was here. We may have to rip out the whole bathroom. We're probably going to have to rip out the floors. So it's stressful. So my stress level is like up this year. And so I know for me, this is not the year for me to play around with having a dessert. It's just not. And you have to know, and for 2020, like a lot of us, it's just maybe not the year to tempt the bear. Let's read this comment. I admire the commitment to yourself. I'm getting there. In the middle of my second carnivore 75 hard, I love this freedom over the holidays. Staying away from triggering foods feels amazing. Yeah. And the thing is, like, some people will say carnivore diet is restrictive, keto diet is restrictive, not having these foods is restrictive. And I'm not going to lie, it is quote unquote restrictive. I'm not one of these people who is like this is restrictive, you know, it's not restrictive. You can't do it. I'm not sitting up here trying to act like the carnivore diet is not a restrictive diet. It is. But for me, it's not restrictive because I don't think about food all the time. I'm not food obsessed. I'm not worried about my next meal. I'm satiated, like I'm full, I'm satisfied. I can live my life and not have sugar and food cravings. That's a miracle for me. I'm 41 and I've dealt with food and sugar cravings my whole entire life. And so for me, you know, the carnivore diet is not restrictive. And if I feel like at some point I do want to add other foods in, then I will. But, you know, like there's so much freedom in the way that I eat. And if that changes, then I'm flexible and open to change. But right now, that's where I'm at. So if that's how you feel, then maybe don't tempt the bear tomorrow. And Tammy says, oh my gosh, my kids are low maintenance. I can't imagine having 9 children. I have my daughter. She will be 13 on December 2nd. So she's almost a teenager, but she's like, I swear, having like 3 children sometimes. I love her to death. She's the light of my life. She has her own YouTube channel. If you guys ever want to check it out, you go to my YouTube home page and see other channels. One of those is my yoga meditation channel. If you ever want to do some gentle restorative yoga or some guided meditations, I have a whole channel. It's not monetized because there's only like 300 people who are subscribed. My daughter's channel is all of her on the letterboard spelling. She spells to communicate. She's totally non-speaking. She's very autistic, but she can spell to communicate. She writes poetry. She is like brilliant. It's amazing. But she's very much like a toddler trapped in a 12 or 13-year-old's body. So I'm 41. I haven't had any other children. I've always wanted to. And I just haven't been brave enough to have another child yet. And Tammy says her 10-year-old has a channel too, even Eloise. And Tammy has a great like family vlog channel. It's so cute. I love it. So yeah, check her channels out also. It's just, I love vlog channels. I don't know about you guys. Tammy, are you going to do Vlogmas? I don't know. There's a thing called Vlogmas, I guess, that YouTubers do where they do a vlog for like every, like the first 12 days of December. I thought about it, but I'm like, I don't know if I have the energy this year to film vlogs. Like, it's just so much energy and work to like film stuff and edit stuff. It's just a lot. And so, yeah. You guys let me know if you have any other questions. Not a lot of people on the chat today. Usually I have a lot more people watching, but it's the day before Thanksgiving. A lot of people, I'm sure, are running around busy, stressing out. Like as I said, I'm not cooking today. My daughter is at clinic for another hour, so I will go in a little bit here. Yeah, no to Vlogmas, too much work. Yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm like, maybe I'll do it another year, but this year. And it's funny, like ever since the election happened, the views on my channel, and on my Instagram and everything have gone like way down. It's super weird. And everyone's talking about censorship thing. I don't know if it's the censorship thing or if it's just like people are having like one of the most stressful years of their lives. Hello, 2020. And they're just really not interested in the carnivore diet right now. You know, they're just like, you know what? It's the holidays. I want to do whatever I want to do. And my stuff will start exploding again in January. Because like right when the pandemic hit, all of my views and follows and everything like took a major nosedive, like right at the beginning of the pandemic. And then all these people that were carnivore came out and now they're like, oh, I'm doing repeat. And they're like all eating all the sugar and fruits and like Mexican Coke and orange juice. And I'm not hating on them for it. I actually had a repeat person commenting on my why you're, sugar craving video on Monday. And I was like, don't bring that here. We don't repeat on this channel. My friend Nutrition with Judy actually has a great article about the whole repeat diet and just kind of like talking about why it may not be the best idea or founded on any kind of scientific data. Because a lot of people, when the pandemic hit, when all the stress hit the fan, they switched over to start doing the repeat diet. Like a lot, people just jumped ship, like just jumped. I'm not doing that because I just know I would not feel good. I know that the sugar is not going to be the solution for me. I don't hate on people who did it, but yeah, it's interesting to see how much stress and like this global pandemic and all the stuff we have going on in the world has really affected people's interest in carnivore diet and the keto in like any kind of weight loss kind of thing, period. It's just really fascinating to watch. You guys are quiet today, but again, it's like less people on the chat. So I'll give it another few minutes unless you guys have questions. Somebody did ask earlier about, let me scroll back up here, about constipation on the carnivore diet, which is a big thing. This person, I don't know if they're still here. What should you do for constipation on the carnivore diet? Number one, may not be eating enough fat. You may need you might have low stomach acid. You might need some digestive enzymes. So taking an enzyme at the beginning of your meal. You may also need some probiotics. You might need to do some gut healing. I just started working with Thrive. They are one of my sponsors, and I put a link below this video. They will actually do a gut healing, like they'll do a gut sample for you. I think they're having a sale right now also. But they will take a fecal sample. You have to provide them with one and send it off, mail it to them. And then they make probiotics based on your gut sample. So the gut microbiome, I'm going to make a whole separate video on this next week. I've been going down the rabbit hole of Nutrition with Judy's gut microbiome videos. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm learning so much about this. You can have a problem and hold on to extra weight if your gut microbiome has bugs in it. You can actually hold on to weight just from having your gut microbiome be messed up. You can continue to have food cravings because of your gut microbiome. You can have problems with sleep because of your gut microbiome. That's been a big one. So I've been doing like a gut healing protocol with probiotics, and Judy's helping me with that, Nutrition with Judy. So go to her channel if you want to know about this stuff. But I was waking up a lot at night. I talked about this about a month ago, a lot. And now I'm to like 1 or 2 wake ups a night, which is like miraculous. And I've been on this gut healing protocol Judy put me on for like 30 days. It's amazing. It's so amazing. So if you're having digestive issues on carnivore, you probably have some gut stuff going on that you need to take a look at. Or if you're still having a lot of cravings or you're still hanging on to extra weight, regardless of what you do, it's something to take a look at. Jeff says, I find I can't deviate on diets to succeed. Yeah, that's why I just never, I used to do like Body for Life. I've been on like every diet that there is, like literally every single diet that there is, like trust me. And when there were cheat days, I just never did well with those because it would throw me off, or I would eat so much food in that cheat day that it would be like, you can see these 10,000 calorie challenges on YouTube. Oh yeah. I never counted how many calories I did on the cheat day, but I mean, It is what it is. You can't cheat the law of thermodynamics. At some point it comes into play. You can't just, have a day where you kill yourself every single week. Like some of you guys, if you're doing tomorrow and Thanksgiving, like my friend Tammy was talking about on her channel, treating it as a refeed day. Okay, cool. But doing cheat day every week for most people doesn't work. And Jeff says magnesium, maybe. Yeah, magnesium citrate can also help you if you're constipated on the carnivore diet. A lot of people are magnesium deficient. And then Juliana says, this is my first live chat. Welcome. Longtime follower, first time caller. LOL. That's so cute. Yes, thank you for watching. Juliana also says, I have a lot of fat to lose. I'm curious why the loss has been so slow. I'm staying the course, but the scale number messes with your head. I want to get to my metabolism and gut health checked. Yeah. So I'm a big believer in testing. And I have like a ton of resources on my channel, a ton of resources. Getting a hair mineral test. I have this one from, you guys don't even want to know what my desk looks like. You'd probably freak out. But I have this one from Upgraded Formulas. I'm still waiting on my results. I just did that one like a couple weeks ago. I'm still waiting to see my hair mineral. But you can find out your electrolyte status by doing a hair mineral test, because a lot of people have electrolyte issues on carnivore or keto, and it can be and see Tammy's on here. This is what we're talking about, the electrolytes. Tammy says, I do daily magnesium glycinate plus 500 milligram minimum sodium for constipation. Yeah, so electrolyte issues are so huge, you guys. That's why I'm like, you can use Upgraded Formulas is the best way. I think they're on sale. I'll pop a link below the video after I go, or you can go back into my videos. I just posted it like a week and a half ago to get this test. I think they're having a sale, and I think my code is Yogi if you want a discount on it. But I found out I was going crazy with the sodium supplementation, crazy. And I was swelling, my face was puffy, I was peeing all the time because I thought I was low in sodium. When I got my mineral test back, my sodium and potassium were like off the charts, and my magnesium was low. I was like, oh my gosh. So, and Judy is working, Nutrition with Judy, she's working with me to customize my electrolytes, and it's a touch and go thing. I don't recommend anybody go off of sodium or salt. There's been a lot of talk in the carnivore community about going off salt. I think that's very dangerous to just go off salt. I think everyone needs a little sodium. How much you need is different. Tammy does she does the Soleil water, Keto Chaos, and you can go on her channel and kind of see her routines. But I think magnesium is essential for most all of us to keep digestion. And a lot of problems that people run into on carnivore and keto are based on electrolyte imbalance. My thyroid started giving me trouble. Number one, I think that's because I went into calorie deficit and stayed there too long, and it was too much stress on my body to be in a calorie deficit. I'm going to work on a video about that, because I want to talk in depth about that, because I see a lot of women doing this, and my electrolytes were so screwed up that it messed up my thyroid. And so, Juliana, I wonder if, some people may have a thyroid issue going on, and we don't just go check our thyroid all the time. But if your T3 is low, then that's like 300 to 500 calories a day that your body's not burning. That's what happened to me. So I was in a calorie deficit, not losing weight, feeling like crap, wanting to die. Went to my gynecologist because I just wanted to get everything looked at, do my checkup. Everything was great, but my T3 was low. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I've been trying to be in this calorie deficit this summer, and my electrolytes were thrown off, and come to find out my T3 was low. So now that's the other thing I'm working with Judy. She's helping me with my gut health, with some probiotics and some glandulars and like a whole routine to get my adrenals back on track and to get my thyroid back to where it was without using medication. Because just giving yourself some exogenous T3 or taking a thyroid medication, you're not actually getting to the root cause. You could have a congested liver, congested gallbladder. A lot of times when people start trying to eat a lot of fat, they start having issues with their gallbladder and their liver. They're like having constipation, indigestion, nausea, because they didn't know they had anything going on with their liver and gallbladder. So, and Tammy says, I'm an electrolyte soapbox person. Yes. And this is the thing, like I'm telling you guys, this whole thing going around the carnivore community right now about cutting out salt is dangerous, because my friend Miranda, she was on here. If you go back in the interviews, she talked about PCOS, and she's awesome. She's no longer carnivore. She's doing more of a paleo style diet, which is working well for her. She had to go to the emergency room this summer. She was strict carnivore, had to go to the emergency room this summer because of her electrolytes to get IVs. So it's not something you want to play around with. Don't mess around with your electrolytes. It can mess up your thyroid, mess up your sleep. It's just so important. So if you're in doubt and you don't know what's right for you, the hair mineral test is great. And working with Nutrition with Judy is very, very helpful to help get that dialed in. So let's see. I hope that helps. And then you can also get your thyroid tested. I have this. Y'all don't even want to see my desk. You would probably freak out. But I have all these Let's Get Checked. They're one of my sponsors also. It is an affiliate link. But you can get a thyroid panel. You can get your T3, reverse T3, and TPO antibodies run. There's links below this video for that. So if you're like stuck, get a blood test done. You can do it from home and find out, like, is something wrong? Or you can get the Thrive Gut Health test done. Is something. So I'm big into testing. I want people to just, not give up. Don't give up on your health journey because things are not working out. You may have more healing that you need to do and more individualization. I know I'm kind of soapbox ranting right now, but so many people are like, carnivore is easy. Keto is easy. It's easy. People are overcomplicating it, but they're not where I'm sitting, where I get thousands of messages and I get thousands of people that reach out to me that are having problems on these diets with dehydration, with thyroid, with gut health, having loose stools or constipation after a year of carnivore, like this real stuff. And you don't want to play around with it, and it's not the diet's fault. You probably had a lot of these issues going on before you did the diet. And the diet has kind of like ripped the Band-Aid off. The diet's kind of like 2020, like let's rip off the Band-Aid and like, let's expose let's bring all the skeletons out of the closet. I think my thyroid was tricky before I ever did carnivore, and I did a lot of fasting too, which is a whole other topic. Y'all know how I feel about fasting. I'm not a fan, especially if you're already stressed out or if you have electrolyte imbalance. The worst thing you can do is fast because that's a quick way to throw your electrolytes off big time. Let me see some of these questions. Hi, Sarah. Have you noticed a significant difference when you recently started incorporating more dairy via butter versus tallow and lard? Honestly, I have been doing so great with the butter, and I'm actually a lot more satiated with the butter. So you guys know I do a super high-fat carnivore diet. I'm working right now to do like a little online course. I just invested in this platform because I want to do more group coaching and more group support. At a very affordable price, like $15 a month, like cheap. I want people to be able to come in and have access and do group stuff with me for a low price. So I'm working on doing a high-fat carnivore diet, like kind of how-to little mini course that I want to release mid-December, January. But I'm a lot more satiated doing butter versus the tallow and lard, quite honestly. And it's a lot more delicious. But I worked really hard on my histamine issues and my gut issues before I was able to add the butter in and not have issues. So when I first started doing the high-fat carnivore diet, it was February of this year. And Runner for Peace says, I don't tolerate dairy very well. We'll try butter again. I don't really tolerate dairy very well, but I use raw butter. There's a farm nearby here that actually will deliver raw dairy to my house. I can get raw milk. It's labeled for pets, raw cream, which I don't mess with those, but I do get raw butter and farm fresh eggs delivered to my house every Friday. It's amazing. I do great with Kerrygold unsalted butter also. But when I was just trying to eat like the beef suet and the tallow and the lard, I would just get hungry. And with the butter, I'm a lot more satiated. But I did this summer work really hard on my gut health, histamine issues. I ate a lot of thymus or sweetbreads. I ate a lot of beef kidney. I drank meat broth instead of bone broth. I was just really mindful of getting that DAO enzyme boosted in my body. When I first tried to do high fat carnivore, I ate butter and I'd get a massive headache. So I would have really bad histamine issues. Now when I can eat butter like crazy now. Like my husband looks at my butter and he's like, how are you like losing weight? And he's just like, doesn't get it, because since I've been doing the gut healing protocol with Judy and the probiotics and like dialing in my electrolytes because of all the testing that I've done, I am losing weight. I'm dropping weight. And my husband's like, you're eating like a friggin' stick of butter and how are you losing weight? I'm like, because you can lose weight eating super high fat. It's still, the law of thermodynamics is still a thing. So I'm not eating like 5,000 calories a day. I'm really eating probably like between 2,000 and 2,500 calories a day, but I'm steadily losing weight and I'm dropping a ton of inflammation. I'm doing it with a lot of butter. So yeah, try, if you can get to tolerate butter, it's a great fat source and it's a lot more satiating. Jeff says, why unsalted butter? So number one, the salt that they use is probably not good high quality salt with unsalted butter. You could get some crappy salt. And then my friend Stephanie, keto person, she actually said that they will salt the butter that's old, so it's not going to be as fresh if you get the salted butter, because they use the salt to hide the fact, to hide the taste that it's not as fresh. Now that's what Stephanie says. But for me, since I'm really careful with my electrolytes and since I eat so much butter, if I was to eat a bunch of salted butter, I would swell. I would definitely swell. And Simone says, most of the butter in Europe is unsalted. Yeah, y'all know how to do it over there. Yeah, so do you guys have any more questions? We're almost at an hour here. So a couple little more tips for you guys tomorrow. This is something that I'm working on in my December Healthy for the Holidays group. Make sure you do some deep breathing before you eat. Like, I know it sounds silly, but there's, I grew up and we prayed before every meal. We always sat down before every meal. We held hands and we prayed. And that's wonderful. You're expressing gratitude before your meal and all of that, but it's something else going on as well, that you're preparing your body to eat. You're getting your body into a rest and digest state. So when you can take a couple minutes, and this is one of the things I tell people in my December Healthy for the Holidays group, that in November group, is that before you eat, sit down, take 2 minutes. And I teach breathing techniques in my group, but simple for you guys, just breathe in and out of your nose, breathe in for 4, breathe out for 4, breathe in for 4, breathe out for 4. Try to do that for a couple minutes because you're going to get your body out of fight flight. If your body is in fight flight, which, hello, I know I keep saying it, but it's 2020, but if you're in fight flight before you eat, more than likely you're going to stay in that. While you eat, you're not going to absorb your nutrients as well. You're not going to digest your food as well. So you may end up being hungrier. So there's a lot, especially since I do high fat carnivore, there's a lot of stuff that I do. And I'm going to put this into my little like mini course that I'm going to hopefully have mid-December, January for you guys about eating high fat carnivore, but to breathe for a couple minutes before you eat, not to drink a bunch of water before you eat. I know there's some health coaches that say, drink a big glass of water before each meal and drink water while you're eating. Well, you're diluting your stomach acid. To absorb and digest your food, you want to have adequate stomach acid. So if you're chugging a bunch of water before you eat, or you're not like relaxed in your eating, you're probably not going to absorb your food. You could still be hungry, so you're not going to reach satiety. Your body's not going to get the nutrients it needs. So there's a lot to that, and not chugging that water to dilute your stomach acid. So very important, tomorrow, especially before you eat any kind of meal at all, just make sure that you get your body to relax before you go into that environment. Get your body to calm down. So Alexis says, best news ever. Can't wait for the December group and the mini training. You're the best, Sarah. Thank you, Alexis. Alexis is in my group. Did you take digestive enzymes when you started carnivore? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And I think a lot of people, again, you get to carnivore and you're not used to eating that much meat or that much fat. It's really the fat that's hard for people because their liver is congested, their gallbladder is congested, and they have no idea until they try to start eating fat. And they just don't have, low stomach acid is a major problem for us in the United States. I mean, everywhere probably. Everywhere it's probably an issue. because of our diets, because of our lifestyles, because of the high stress that we experience. It's a major, major issue. So I did take a digestive enzyme for the first 6 weeks because I had loose stools. I know after 6 weeks, I no longer had that. But if you take a digestive enzyme, and this is straight from Nutrition with Judy, what she has her clients do is you just want to take one capsule at the very beginning of your meal, chew each bite 30 to 40 times. So that's the other thing I have people in my group do. Do the 2 minutes of breathing before you eat. If you're going to take a digestive enzyme, take it before you eat your meal. Chew each bite 30, 40 times. Really chew it, then swallow. Don't chug a bunch of water along with it. If you're doing a probiotic, you take your probiotic in the middle of the meal, and you just take your time. You don't rush through your food. And Tammy says, my grandma used to say that about drinking water before a meal. Yeah, it's funny. Like a lot of it's like there's all these like diet hacks and diet tricks, and a lot of them are just like, no, don't do that. That's probably not the best thing to do, is chug a bunch of water before you have a meal, because you're going to dilute your stomach acid. So not a good idea. And chewing your food enough. I mean, when I started doing this, like kind of more mindful eating, all of a sudden I wasn't hungry. Like when you eat high fat carnivore diet, your portions of food are small. The volume of food is small. And I'm a big volume person. Like before I did carnivore, I was like basically AIP paleo, because I had so many autoimmune issues that I was doing autoimmune paleo. If I didn't stick to that, and I did have my chocolate binges, then I would just feel like I wanted to absolutely die. So much joint pain, so much inflammation. So carnivore was like the next thing for me. But I would eat like a ton of volume. So a ton of like collard greens, and I loved my greens. Some people are like, oh, I'm so glad to be carnivore because I hate vegetables. I actually like some vegetables and some plants, which is why eventually I may go more towards a keto style, or I'm not going to trap myself into carnivore forever. I just know it's working really well for me right now, for what I'm doing right now. And I will keep the name Carnivore Yogi, because I am trying to break a paradigm that you have to be a vegan, tree hugger to be a yogi or to practice yoga. I want people to just practice yoga to learn how to relax their bodies and get out of fight flight, so they can be better parents or brother, sister, just enjoy their life. That is what, to me, the practice of yoga and meditation is about, is not to be some elevated, up here, thumb your nose up spiritual person. Like that's great and all, and you're more conscious and more aware, but I just want people to heal from trauma and heal from stress in their life and be able to live their life and be happy. So that's why I'm the Carnivore Yogi, because I'm like, you got to eat meat if you want to be stable and calm, or at least I do. I don't know what anyone else has to do. I just know when I was plant-based for 2 years, that was the most emotionally unstable I had ever been in my life. The skinniest I had ever been in my life. Let's talk about the fact that I'm 40 pounds heavier now than I was vegan. But if you probably could have snapped my bones like a twig. Like I was so skinny. I did not look good. So yeah, and I was the most depressed and anxious. I was on 5 different medications for depression and anxiety when I was plant-based. Like when I started eating meat, I immediately felt more mentally stable. It's crazy. And I'm not alone. There's a lot of people that say this. So that's why the name Carnivore Yogi will stay, even if I don't stay on carnivore diet forever. Right now, it's like I'm not going to mess with it because I'm happy with it. It's working. And I promised Nutrition with Judy that I would give her 60 days on her protocol. Because she's like, Sarah, because Judy, I've known Judy, Nutrition with Judy. Go to her YouTube channel if you're not already subscribed. She's amazing. She's working with me privately. But she's like, Sarah, I know you. She's known me since I started carnivore. Like I've known her for almost 2 years now. And she's like, I know you get impatient, and I know you want to try different protocols and different things. She's like, can you please just give me 60 days? If we're going to work together, we're going to get your electrolytes where they need to be. We're going to get your gut healed. We're going to get your thyroid back to functioning again. We're going to get you sleeping through the night. I have to have 60 days. And so I'm like, okay, I will commit to you. I will not do any food experiments. I will not do any experiments at all with any other supplements. I will just do what you tell me to do. And that's what I'm doing, and it's working great. My sleep data, because I track with the Aura, I'm like amazed. I'm amazed at my wake ups have gone like so, like they're like almost non-existent. Like I've even slept through the night, which I haven't done in years, like 0 wake ups the whole night. I just thought that was something I had to do. But since I've been doing what Judy's been telling me to do, I've had 0 wake ups. So it's amazing. All right. Do you guys have any more questions? We're about just at an hour, and I don't want to hold this out for too long, but I do want to encourage you guys to take care of yourself. Know what that looks like for you today. Maybe taking care of yourself is indulging a little bit tomorrow. And then you wake up Friday and you're good to go and you're back on track, you know? But maybe if you're like me, where I'm at this point in my life right now with food, it's just like, I'm not going to mess with it. I'm going to the dinner. I'm going to be helpful. I have 2 little baby nieces. I can play with them and let my sisters get off their feet and enjoy their meals. You know, we find different ways to enjoy the holiday. And, you know, I've had a couple people in my November Healthy for the Holidays group that have already been to a couple of gatherings, and I am doing a December group. So if you guys want to get into my December group, there's a link below this video. I would love to have you. Registration's still open. But they've gone to events, people in my November group, because we're talking a lot in that group where there's open dialogue all the time. And they didn't eat anything. They stayed full carnivore or keto, whatever diet they were on. And they were like, oh my gosh, I just really enjoyed being with my family. I just really enjoyed that interaction. And Robert Sykes, Keto Savage, I was on his podcast probably like 6 weeks ago. And Robert is just amazing. I just love Robert. He's awesome. He's 28, or 29, which I'm like, are you serious? I thought he was like in his late 30s. Aw, hi, Angela. Angela's in my group too. But Robert and I were talking, and I really thought he was like my age. I thought he was like 40. It's amazing. And he's just like, you know, for me, I know myself with food. And I know that if I was to like, quote unquote, live a little, if I was to go to a holiday event, and I think he just did a video on his channel, Keto Savage, Robert Sykes, where he talked about this like for like 10 minutes. So if you want a short little video, and he was saying that if he does that, then he no longer can enjoy being around people. And that's how I am. And my husband, like, we've been together 15 years. He knows me. And what used to happen with me in food is that I would live a little, indulge a little, but he said I would get this glazed over look in my face. And I know I would. It's like I totally check out. I go and I have the dessert or I have the whatever, and it triggers something in me where I zone out. I am no longer participating. I am all about how much food I can get in my body, what I'm going to eat next. And it just turns into this crazy obsession. That's how I am with alcohol. That's why I don't touch alcohol. That's why I just celebrated 4 years sober in October. And it's just that I just know myself. So know yourself. And what Robert and I, Keto Savage and I were talking about is like, if we do that, if we go into these events and we eat the food, we're no longer hanging out. We're no longer enjoying being around other people. It sucks. It's not living. So everyone's like, have a little cake, live a little. Yeah, live a little. That's what it feels like to me. Live like a little, like you're not even there. You're just living a little. You could live a lot. And maybe you can live a lot and have a little something and enjoy it. That might be your place. And I'm not hating on anybody. And I'm not telling you what you should do or any of that. I just know that's where I am for me, is that I'm not living. I'm not having fun. I'm no longer enjoying the dinner if that's what I do. Alexis says, will registration be open until Friday? Yes. Registration for the December Healthy for the Holidays will be open for a few more days. So again, the link is below this video. If you want to get in on my group coaching, I help people stay off sugar, processed foods. We're going to do the whole month of December. I'll probably have some fun stuff planned come January, but right now we're just going to get through the holidays. We're just going to get through 2020 holiday season and do our best and support each other and not punish ourselves. No crazy fasting and restricting, and don't do that. If you do indulge, that's one thing I want to mention. If you do indulge tomorrow, don't put yourself on a crazy fast. I'm going to recommend. Maybe you do that and it works for you, but I'm going to recommend not doing that because it will, from a lot of people, for me, for sure, I have a lot of years of experience. It's going to perpetuate that binge cycle, is to go on a fast and then you'll get really super hungry and you're going to be a lot more likely to go back into another binge. Let's see. When I crave something to eat, I only remember how bad it makes me feel and it goes away. Yeah. And sometimes you just have to sit through those feelings. And that's really hard. It's hard to sit through the feelings, the cravings. You know, I mentioned my daughter, she flooded my hallway and caused this big flood in my house. Stress through the roof, big time. And that was the first time I've craved sugar in a really long time. And those cravings were really strong. But what I did is I talked to my husband about it. I was like, I am craving some sugar right now. All I want to do is go to the store and get this, that, and the other. And he's like, you know, I know you. If you could do that tonight and then not wake up tomorrow and have all the obsessive thoughts in your head, I would say go for it. But I know you, and I know that this is going to pass. If you just don't go and get the sugar and the stuff, this is going to pass, and it's going to be no longer a thing for you when you wake up tomorrow, and you're going to feel so much better that you didn't do it. So I know I keep saying this stuff. A lot of you guys are going to feel better Friday morning. If you just eat your fat and eat your meat and like don't indulge, don't do it, you're going to feel better Friday morning. You know, I've never felt like I've missed out. Last year, again, was the first year that I didn't eat any sugar. I didn't eat any of the desserts. And the day after the holiday, I did not wake up feeling bad. I did not wake up feeling like I missed out on anything. I actually woke up feeling really happy and like I had done something. I had accomplished something. And again, that may not be the case for you. Tracy says, have a great Thanksgiving. Thank you, Tracy. Louise says, define crazy. I'm not sure what you're in reference to. There's all kinds of crazy. So I'm not sure what you're referring to. All right, guys. It is 1 hour and 6. Okay, here we go. Tammy says, say no to post-high-calorie meal guilt trips. Fasting after a binge is punishment. Don't do that. Just get back on your normal routine and keep going. Yes, exactly. If you guys need more help, motivation, go to Tammy's channel, Keto Chaos. Watch the video she did yesterday. She did a live stream. Very different ideas, different ideas than me. Oh, and Louise says, define crazy fast. I mean, anything where you're punishing yourself, just like what Tammy says. If you're going to fast for health benefits, do it for health benefits. If you want to do that, if you want to go that route. I don't fast anymore right now at this point because I am dealing with major adrenal fatigue and electrolyte imbalance and thyroid. I'm dealing with a lot of stuff right now. Yes, and Tammy says she means crazy as in anything out of your normal to combat your poor choices. Exactly. So if you normally do a 48-hour fast every week, go for it, But if you don't do 24, 48-hour fasts and that's not something you normally do, but you want to punish yourself for having this big blowout on Thanksgiving Day, don't do that. Just don't. I mean, unless you know yourself and that's not going to trigger you to binge, for most people that follow me and follow my channel, that's just not a good idea because you guys are like me and the fasting triggers the binge. It causes a lot of stress on your body and we're already stressed out enough, right? Jimmy says, happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, Jimmy. Stay strong. You guys stay strong. Link to join my group is below the video if you want to come, if you want to get some extra support. I want to help you guys to get through the rest of this year and be happy and healthy. And that's going to look different for everybody, Dee says, thank you. When I'm tempted, I binge watch your videos. I love it. Thank you, Dee. I appreciate that. I'm going to keep on putting out more content for you guys and doing more of these live streams. So I appreciate each and every one of you guys. It's been a crazy year. It's hard. This has been my first full year as a YouTuber. 2020, what a year I chose to be a YouTuber. And so it's been really cool to get to know so many of you guys, new friendships, learning new things about myself, about you guys. It's just been really awesome. So take care of yourself. Do what you got to do to keep your stress low. That's going to look different for everybody. Don't don't worry about if you're, what you do for you for self-care looks different for what I do for self-care. We're not the same people. We don't have the same life. We all have different stuff. So thank you guys so much for watching. It's 2:30 and I got to go eat before I get my daughter. So that means I need time to take deep breaths and chew my food. Practice what I preach, right? Okay, guys, happy Thanksgiving. I'll be back soon with another video, with another live stream. Have an awesome, awesome Thanksgiving. Bye, y'all.